Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. I've been doing quite a bit of thinking lately, and I've been discussing with myself what exactly Ninjago is all about. That's a question that I've been wondering for quite a few years at this point. I often wonder why this one particular LEGO series has become so popular and has become so adored by several fans across the world. What about Ninjago is so deep, especially considering how it is by default a LEGO show? You wouldn't really expect a LEGO TV series to be running for over 10 years. And after doing quite a bit of thinking, I've decided that because of my own experiences and under my own view, I feel like Ninjago's overall theme of sacrifice is very strong, motivational, and well written to say the least. In my opinion, Ninjago is all about sacrifice. This is something that we've been seeing since the pilots. There's been themes of sacrifice laid throughout every single season, some of which involve physical sacrifices, such as Zayns' infamous scene during season 3, while others are a little bit more subtle and a little more, dare I say, intriguing than a physical sacrifice. In today's video, I want to break down what exactly Ninjago does so well in regards to the sacrifice theme, and why the series is so good at expressing that you must sacrifice something that you have to do what's right. In terms of physical sacrifices, I think that's a very good place to start, because Ninjago has indeed had its fair share of physical dramatic sacrifices in relation to one of the main characters sacrificing his or her physical body in order to make something right or defeat a bad guy or what have you. The first big iconic instance of this was the aforementioned Zayns Sacrifice during season 3. Now keep in mind, this is not the first time that somebody has sacrificed themselves in Ninjago. There's been some examples of that dating all the way back to the pilots, but this was the big first iconic scene in which a ninja laid down his own life to protect those that he cared about. The theme of sacrifice here was overwhelmingly strong, because Zayne knew what he was getting into before he even did it. He knew as soon as he latched onto the golden armor there was no turning back, and I feel like that's what makes this scene extremely powerful. At this point in time, Zayne was only thinking about saving his friends and the ones that he cared about, and couldn't really care less of what happened to himself. The scene is very strong for several reasons, including a very deep soundtrack, which is iconic to this day, and several flashbacks and emotional moments featuring himself and his team during the previous Ninjago seasons. Even though Zayne was pretty much confirmed at the end of season 3 to not be gone entirely, this sacrifice is still extremely powerful and is Ninjago's biggest example, in my opinion, of a physical sacrifice done right. Now let's talk about Garmadon Sacrifice during season 4. This one is very similar to Zayne's for several reasons. For one, a main character is basically giving up his own body to defeat a bad guy. In turn, Master Chen and his horde of Anacondrae would be promptly banished and would be taken out of Ninjago by force. Obviously, Garmadon didn't really come back from this. We saw a very sad moment between Garmadon and his son during season 5 as basically one last goodbye until Garmadon inevitably came back later on in the series, of course in a different form, but still, this sacrifice was played incredibly well. It did take a lot of cues from Zayns Sacrifice, admittedly, with the soundtrack being eerily similar, as well as the whole flashback montage being similar, but still I felt like it worked. Not as much as Zayns Sacrifice, but still good nonetheless. Another large example of a physical sacrifice actually came in the recent Ninjago season known simply as Cbound, when Nia sacrificed her body to defeat Wajira, ultimately merging with her own elemental power and becoming one with the ocean. Not only did Nia defeat Wajira by merging with her elemental power, but she showcased an insane amount of new abilities that other elemental masters could only dream of. Nia was very strong here, and while she may have lost some of her relationships, at least for the time being, as well as her own physical form, again for the time being, I think the consequences of Nia's sacrifice are going to be more dramatic and more expansive than any other character actually performing a physical sacrifice. But talking about consequences and elemental powers is actually a good segue to talking about another form of sacrifice that we've seen throughout Ninjago, that of course relating to the ninja's powers. This one is a little more subtle as it's been played over several seasons, and also it's not as flashy or dramatic as a physical sacrifice may be, but I still want to touch on this because this is what prompted me to make the video. The realization that over the course of the first couple of seasons, the ninja really sacrificed a lot of their elemental powers. In terms of the original 4 ninja, those of course being Kai, Jay, Zayne, and Cole, they possessed the original 4 dominant elements, those of course being fire, lightning, ice, and earth. Obviously, with that being said, they each had a golden weapon to correspond with that, and the golden weapons are extremely powerful relics dating back to the days of the first Spinjitzu master. And constantly relying on the golden weapons to protect Ninjago, whether it be from the skeletons or the serpentine, actually caused the ninja's abilities to sort of deplete in a way. Traditionally in Ninjago's lore, when an elemental master unlocks their true potential, they can essentially gain control of that element. They are in full control control of that power, they are one with their elemental powers, at least so to speak. And we saw this happening prior in Ninjago as well. However, the constant use of the golden weapons actually caused the ninja to lose those abilities over time. If you guys remember from the earlier Ninjago seasons, when the ninja each unlocked their true potential one after the other, their power was pretty much off the charts, and the golden weapons were basically a catalyst for that power. Other elemental masters were not in charge of golden weapons used to protect the entire land, and as such they could freely adapt and utilize their powers whenever they saw fit. The power grew with them. Unfortunately for the ninja, the powers basically grew within the golden weapons themselves. The golden weapons were charged with elemental abilities, and they basically matched that of the ninja. Henceforth, the ninja could not really use their powers unless they had the golden weapons. They were too intertwined at that point. I am not sure if the ninja recognized that this would happen, but this has been mentioned several times by the ninja themselves. Because the ninja were just so used to working with the weapons and relying on them, when the weapons were taken away, as was the case during Season 2 of Ninjago when Garmadon merged them into the mega weapon, the ninja did not really have their powers anymore. They could not physically call upon their powers like they could when they first unlocked their true potential. And while from a writing perspective this would definitely make the ninja less overpowered and more balanced compared to other elemental beings, in the show's canon, if the ninja theoretically did not have the golden weapons, they would pretty much be gods at this point. Possessing the 4 dominant elemental powers was something that the ninja could not really utilize on their own from a storytelling perspective. With the ninja's powers depleted because of their sacrifice to protect all of Ninjago, during seasons like Tournament of Elements, they were basically fighting an uphill battle. In several cases, the ninja were on par with or even weaker than some of the other elemental masters participating in that same tournament. And that's simply because the ninja had a responsibility to protect not only Ninjago, but also the golden weapons. We can see a similar thing happening with Lloyd's power, except his power had different circumstances surrounding it. After Lloyd unlocked his own true potential and basically reached the rank of Ultimate Spinjitzu Master, his power was off the charts as well. He basically had the power of his grandfather, and because of the traditional storytelling perspective, you needed to nerf that power somewhere. And as such, this turned into another example of pure sacrifice. When Lloyd's golden power was taken by the Overlord, he escaped, but only with a small percentage left. As such, he decided to distribute that power evenly amongst the 4 ninja and return their powers to them. That was a very human moment from Lloyd, and I really enjoyed that during Season 3. It showed that his character has grown quite a bit, not only recognizing that sacrifices have to be made, but also he did it for the greater good. He knew he needed to balance the fight some way, and what better way to do that than to provide the original ninja with their original powers. I think that Ninjago's overlaying themes of sacrifice are very powerful, and that's part of the reason why I feel like Ninjago has grown so much as a series over the years. The writing is fantastic for the most part, and it gives the ninja several examples to shine and show that sacrifices need to be made in order to reach the greater good, in order to reach that final moment when everything will be okay once again. I think the more subtle option for sacrifices is a lot better because it lays the groundwork for that overall theme to grow and develop. Physical sacrifices may be more flashy, more dramatic, and even more sad in some areas, but the more subtle sacrifices, like the ninja constantly losing their powers to protect Ninjago, I feel hit a lot harder on a personal level. But again, that's just basically my own opinion. I enjoyed taking this opportunity to discuss Ninjago sacrifices with you guys today, and I appreciated you guys listening. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about Ninjago's overlaying theme of sacrifice, and whether or not you think it's been effective or not so much. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. That's going to pretty much do it for my thoughts here today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.